But Coach Adrian, but we'll do the intros later. So let's start our program with a short opening remarks. Thank you. A short opening remarks from our Senior People and Culture Manager, Erickson Avila. So let's give him a warm round of applause.
All right, thank you so much, Rachel. Good morning, everybody. Can we just give everyone a big round of applause for being here this morning? Today we have decided to gather all of our Cebu community. So I think I'm hearing my voice. Encouragement also for your colleagues who are not here yet to join other programs, other engagement activities, and our party on Friday.
world. But I'm so glad to be Cebuano. Aren't you proud to be Cebuano, everybody? Thank you. All right. Can I say a few words in Cebuano just to prove to you guys that I'm Bisaya? Is that okay? Yeah. Sige. So, lingian ko na imong katapad palihog, be. Lingian na imong katapad. Kusian ko na imong katapad. Kanang sige kao. My name is Coach Adrian, and what I do is I train and develop people so that they can become a better version of themselves. And we do that through life-changing training programs on leadership, career advancement, and personal branding. Hey guys, feel free to come in and join the party. Have a seat. Traffic na kaayo. Rachel forgot to mention that I'm a husband to one wife. And I have two crazy sons, 9 and 7 years old, okay? You might think, oh gosh, he's so well dressed today. Maybe, but the truth is, I am a cocinero at night. And I'm also IT support whenever my sons need me, every time their MS Teams will fall apart. So that's what I do. I want to start off by sharing with you guys a true story. Raise your hand, please, if you've ever joined a fun run in your life. Fun run. Higher, higher, so I can see you. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Whew. Can I just say for the record, there is nothing fun about a fun run. Can I just say that sometimes we get into the fun run because we want to go with our friends, but the truth is there's nothing fun about it. So I was forced by my client 11 years ago, and my client said, we're not going to pay you until you join us in a fun run. I said, that's unfair, but I had no choice. Usually when you do a fun run, you don't have a choice. So here's what I did. I joined a fun run, and I'm so happy to inform you guys that out of 2,400 people, your speaker finished 2,109th. Don't laugh, because I know some of you will finish last. Now, when we got to the finish line, I noticed that there's this recovery area. What kind of area? Recovery area. And I'll never forget, guys, they were actually giving us free bananas. Free bananas. Not Chowking, but bananas. Okay? So I had a running mate, his name is Max. He's tall, he's muscular. And I said, Max, free bananas. Max saw the long line and the crowd, and here's what he said. He says, I don't want any free banana. It's too long. I said, Max, free bananas. As you can tell, I'm Cebuano and Max is American because he doesn't really care. He says, forget it. The line is too long, dude. Forget it. Forget the bananas. I said, Max, free bananas. He says, forget it. So what did I do? Take note, I'm 6'3". So I stand in the line and I reach out with my long elastic man arms and I pull out 2 bananas. Kanang dole nga brand, if you know what I'm saying. And I gave him one, and he swallowed it in 5 seconds, and I had my banana. So here's what I realized, and I hope you guys can catch this before you decide to stay and continue to work. Here's what I discovered. I realized that in life there are 2 kinds of people. The first group of people are the people who know exactly what they want. And they'll do whatever it takes to get what they want, as long as they're not stepping on someone else's toes. But the second group of people I know are the kind of people who know what they want, but all they see is the long line or the obstacle in front of them. The worst group of people I know are the people who have no idea what they want and they don't even know how to do it. They're living only for today or the moment. I want you guys to be the first person. Know what you want and do whatever it takes to get it without stepping on someone else's toes. But the truth is, you and I, we need to change first. Yes or yes? Raise your right hand, please, everybody. Come on, raise your right hand. Whether you're eating or texting or candy crushing, raise your hand. I want you to tap the person on your right. Come on, tap the person on your right. Pukawa na siya. Tell the person beside you, hoy, magbago ka na. Raise your left hand, please. Come on. Tap the person naman on your left, and tell the person on your left, hoy, mag-diet ka na. All right. So, I want to welcome you guys to a talk entitled Prime Yourself for Success. And today, I'm going to show you guys 5 important things for you to be able to reach the prime. Number 1 is to make sure that you protect, you pursue, and you establish your goals. Number 2, we have to remember life is going to be tough. We have to be resilient. Number 3, I'm going to ask you guys to build on better relationships with each other. If you really want to be successful, we got to build relationships. Number 4, it's not how much we earn, it's how much we save and invest. Young people today, you guys are making 3 times more the average supervisor in China Bank. But the problem is we have so many items in our cart. Hello? And sometimes we buy things to impress people we don't really like. I love this crowd. It's such an energetic crowd. And then we're also gonna talk about work ethics, because there is a phenomenon going on in the world which is called silent or quiet quitting and lunch sharing. We're gonna talk about that today. Are you ready, guys? Are you sure? Now, I am not offended if you will eat and drink at the same time. I'm not offended by that. Unya, kung matukan ka, that's up to you, all right? But I'm here to serve you guys. How many of you guys have a kuya by any chance? Like you have a big brother or an ate? Anybody? Okay, thank you. My kuya was my best friend before because every time I was down and discouraged, kuya would be the first to encourage me. He was like a real best friend. So my hope for you guys today and my ambition today is not to be a speaker or a lecturer, but I want to be like a brother for you guys. Because I am, I think, twice your age. I'm almost 50, by the way. Forgot to mention that. Almost 50. So I know what it means to be in your stage, okay? So let's get started. Let's talk about your goals. Now, give me 10 seconds of quick silence, everybody. I want to show you guys what we call the career progression roadmap. All right, raise your hand if you belong to any of these categories. If you're 15 to 25, raise your hand. 15 to 25, tell the truth. Some of you are like, all right. If you're 15 to 25, what's important for you? Good job, good company, good pay. That's all. Make sure it's fun, right? If you're 25 to 35, raise your hand. Higher so I can see you. 25 to 35. This is the part of your life where you're trying to figure things out. Like you want to know if you want to pursue this, right? By the way, there's a difference between a job and a career. If it stresses you out, it's called a job. But if you love what you do, it's called a career. Hashtag KMC. And that's not char.com. When you're hitting this age, you've got to start making decisions of what you want. Because the worst thing to happen is when you're hitting my age and you have no idea what you want in life. It's like you are a paper ship that's going to be tossed to and fro. Right? Now, what's interesting is that when you reach this age, you have 3 choices. How many choices? The first choice is either you choose to be comfortable where you are, making $55,000 a month and you're okay, right? Or what happens is you start to age and you realize you're on a decline, or you choose to grow and to elevate. Miss, can I get your name, please? Lynn. How young are you, young lady? You're 24. Oh my gosh. I'm ×2. Now, Lynn, 24-year-old Lynn will have different needs when she's 30 years old. Priorities will be different in life. You're gonna find your ayi. You're gonna settle down. You're gonna have a kid one day. Priorities will be different. Schooling is gonna start, right? So we have to understand, guys, that if you're in this part of your life, eyesight is not enough. There's something called foresight. Everybody say foresight. Foresight is looking ahead. Eyesight is what's in front of you. Hindsight is regret in life. Please elbow the person beside you. Kanang nagpretend na naminaw pero wala. Please elbow the person beside you. Tell the person beside you that was for you. So we want to make sure, guys, that we are elevating and we are growing. I want to ask you guys, do you go crazy when you do not have any Wi-Fi? Do you go crazy when you don't have any Wi-Fi or data? Yes? I submit to you guys, you have to be crazier if you don't have a why. Not a wife, but a why. What's a why? A why is a reason for being. A why is a cause. It's what gets you out of bed every single day. Friends, it's called mind over mattress. It's called a why. Do you have a why? Do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Yes or yes? Or some of you are saying, samtang na okay pa ni, I'm just gonna stay here. And usually that's what happens and we start to stagnate. I want to share with you guys a few things about goal setting. So I'm married 10 years. And if you're planning to get married, please think again, because the saying no return, no exchange is absolutely true. In the first 5 years, you guys are going to be called lovebirds. But after 10 years of being married, you evolve into a different species of birds. You're now angry birds. I promise you. On my 5th-year wedding anniversary, my wife said, let's go to Sumilon. I'm Chinese. Here's the problem. Chinese people will spend for everything. But we want to make sure it's right below budget. In other words, I'm tehek. So we go to Sumilon, and my wife invites me, and she says, hon, how about let's go kayaking? Now you have to understand something about my wife. My wife is a vampire. She has fair skin. She's afraid of the sun. And yet she has the audacity to invite me for kayaking. I said, what time? She said, 5:30. Unsa may makita ni mo's 5:30? Wala. So I asked the person operating, and he goes like, sir, tag 3.5 ba yan eh? Perting mahala, pero sige na lang, because I wanted to avoid confrontation. So we're now in the lagoon. We got our life jackets, right? That's us. Here's what happened, Lynn. We're in the middle, and it's getting darker, and there are sound effects going on in our minds like dun 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 dun. That kind of sound effects. And here's what's happening, guys. The whole time we're paddling, and this is what's happening to us. The whole time is we're turning around in circles. Are you with me, guys? And my wife tells me, hon, where are we going? And I look at her and I discover she's not paddling at all. It's getting darker. I think sometimes in life, we're caught in a situation wherein we like where we're at, but sometimes we're just going around in circles. We need to set goals. Everybody say goals. So I want to give you guys a few guidelines about goals. The first one is this. If you're going to set a goal, make sure that it's a goal that's purposeful. But remember, the higher the goals, the more painful and challenging it can become. Some people say, mag-diet na jud ko. Really? The issue is not the statement of the goal. The issue is, Not the leggings you're going to wear and enrolling in fitness, in a gym, but are you willing to take the pain that goes with the size of the goals? Let me ask you a question, guys. All right? I'll ask you, miss, if you don't mind. So there's a little bit of audience interaction. What's your name, miss? Leanne. Leanne, would you be willing to go all the way to Bogo on foot to meet a very good-looking person? No. Okay, wow. Now, Leanne, what if I tell you that the good-looking person has 1 million pesos for you? Are you willing to go on foot to Bogo? No. Wow. What if I tell you, Leanne, that there is $1 million waiting for you in Bogo? Are you willing to go on foot to Bogo? Say yes na lang, good. Yes, good. Para di madawat akong koryo ba? You would go. That's called motive. There's an external factor that's drawing you to go. The thing is, goals are not supposed to be just motivational. They have to be inspirational. And for that to happen, it's got to be purposeful. There's got to be meaning to it. Are you with me? Now we can tell that Leanne will not leave KMC without $1 million. Second thing, clarity. Are you clear? Do you know what you want? Are you clear about your goals? Is it something very, very specific? I'll tell you what. Raise your hand if you want to get married. After my story, you've changed your mind. I was so sure I was going to get married to this woman. But I forgot we needed a $500,000 budget to make it happen. I had to be very crystal clear. Are you clear? Do you have career progression? Are you happy with your career? Or are you just coasting along? Are you willing to negotiate with your superior so that you can be given better responsibilities? Here's another thing. Is the goal big enough to challenge you? And do you have the right strategy and tactics to be able to achieve that? Right? Lastly, are you willing to be monomaniacal? Now, some of you are saying, monomaniacal? Unsa na? Maniac? Monomaniacal is this. Can I share it with you? Monomaniacal simply means singular obsession. Let me ask you, when you say, I'm interested in something, an interest is a hobby. But when you're obsessed about something, it becomes a passion for you. There's a difference between interest and obsession. And it's purpose that makes you obsessed. Can I share with you why I'm driven to do what I'm doing? May I share it with you guys? Is that okay? When I was 16 years old, I was bullied. I'm 6'3", and just in case you're wondering, what is the secret to height? I want to challenge you to consider cherry for gold and Nido fortified. But it doesn't work. It's really genetics. When I was 16 years old, I was the last person chosen in the varsity team for my height. And I remember, guys, we had this intense basketball game between our school, Sacred Heart School, Ateneo, and USC. And guys, the ball was in my hands. They put me in with 2 minutes left in the game, and the score was 59-60. 59 for us, 60 for the opponent. And so what happened was they bring me in, they pass the ball, and nobody was guarding me. Can you picture this? I turn around, the ring was wide open. What do you do when the ring is wide open and no one's guarding you? You shoot the ball. But for some reason, there were two very healthy USC Warriors who sandwiched me and I fell on the floor. So I get 2 shots. Guys, I love this feeling. The future of my school is dependent on my hands and I love it. So I'm dribbling the ball. 59-60 is the score. And here's what happened. The first free throw I made, I was about to shoot the ball and my team captain was on the side and he was saying, "Bantay, di na masud ang bola ha, kulapahon jud ta ka." I was dribbling the ball and I said, "Our Father who art in heaven, holy be your name." I'm praying. I shoot the ball, guys, and if this is the ring, this is the ball, it just touches the net. Air ball. So what did my team captain do? He was like, here's what he did. Mura siya kwitis. So I lost my posture. Did you ever have a team leader before wherein you made a mistake and your team leader's like, shh? Have you ever had something like that? Maybe. Don't look at the person beside you. That could be your team leader. So I had one more chance and he gives me a death threat. And by the time he's doing that, I'm saying, "Glory be to the Father and to the Son." And so I shoot the ball and if this is the ring, this is the ball, it just touches the rim. Long story short, we lost. He drags me to the locker room. He points at me and he calls me 4 Bisaya terms that I will never forget. He says, "Bugo, tanga, butalo, why are you?" And that stuck to me for so long. Hey, by the way, side topic. If you're a team leader, you have no right to insult people with names below the belt. True or true? You should never call people bobo. Why? Because that's stripping people of their dignity. And by the way, sometimes when you hurt someone with a fist, they will forgive you. But sometimes when you say acidic words to people, it can scar you for life. This is a hungry crowd. So because of that, I was really, really insecure. But over the years, there were so many people in my life who encouraged me and they coached me. My pain became my purpose. And that's the reason why today I am a coach. Because I want to see potential in other people, especially those people who had the same experiences as I had. That's what purpose is. Live for a purpose, not just for a job. Raise your right hand, please, everybody. Tap the person on your right. Tell the person on, ay sig kaon din ha, all right? Raise your left hand, please. Tap the person on your left and tell the person on the left, hoy, mag-exercise ka na. Are we learning? Now, let's break it down a bit. Take a picture. You got a phone? Take a picture. We're so focused, guys, on the idea of setting a goal that is exciting, but we've got to be willing to embrace the pain. However, what's missing in goal setting is that we do not have the right strategies and the systems to back it up. What do we mean by systems? Habits, routines. If you guys are familiar with my good friend Steph Curry by any chance, Steph Curry has a routine before the game for 1 solid hour where he practices his shooting. Why? Because when you have systems or routines in place, it's easier for you to implement and execute your strategies. Can I tell you something? Everybody say what? Everybody say what? Strategy will eat your goal for lunch. If you do not have a strategy or a system in place to reinforce your goals are nothing but paper. It's just a wish. We've got to put action and we have to have systems to go with that action. Yes or yes? Let's continue. Are we learning, guys? The problem is sometimes, talawan kita, we're scared. This is our brain and we have 2 sides of the brain. We got the neocortex and you've got the other side, limbic, and you've got the reptilian brain. What's the point? Listen carefully. This one over here is your logical brain, which weighs things based on logic. But this one over here weighs things based on emotions. And this is the seat of all decision making. But here's the problem. The small brain is also responsible for fear. So every time you have a goal and it scares you, what does the brain tell you to do? It's either you freeze Or what do? You take off. That's the reason why whenever you get endorsements by your superiors and it's very overwhelming, what do? You actually check on IG, you check on TikTok, and you find something interesting, a moment of inspiration before you get back to work. Why? Because you see the overwhelm in the logic of everything. Are you following, guys? That's the reason why, guys, it's so important for us to understand that when we have goals, it has to be emotionally connected to you. It's got to mean something to you. It's not a can, it's not a will, it's a must. What's a must? A must, my dear friends, KMC community, is an intersection of what's urgent and what's important in your life. We like to delay things because it's not urgent and it's not important. When you have a must situation, that's the moment that you have unstoppable action. Let's continue. Now let's go to number 2. Resilience. Everybody say resilience. What's resilience? Resilience is your ability to what? Bounce back when times get tough. And you've experienced that before. How many of you guys here can be honest to say, you had an experience like me, where you're about to take the examination in college, and then out of nowhere, your professor will say, "Ding! Wapa ka kabayan sa imuhang tuition. Please go down and pay." And it's in front of a lot of people. But for some reason, you found a way to finish college. How many of you have ever been in a situation before when you went through a breakup? Can I repeat the question? How many of you went through a situation when you went through a breakup? Fine, heartache. So many people in denial today. Lots of dishonest people in this room. Alam mo yung moment na yun, akala mo siya na pero hindi pala. Alam mo yung moment na akala mo gusto ka niya, type ka niya, pero hindi pala. But what happened? He said no to you, but 6 months later, you introduced somebody in the KMC community, a tall, dark, and handsome guy. He's mestizo, and his name is Diego. And you want to show everybody, this is resilience. No, that's not resilience. That's called a rebound. What's resilience? Resilience is when you have cancer and you fight back to be strong. Resilience is when you're financially freaking broke and you found a way to cut your freaking cards and you found a way to get out of debt. Are you with me? Resilience is when you had this huge conflict in your team that's bringing everybody's performance down. And you said, enough is enough. Let's fix this. Tama ng drama. That's called resilience. Resilience is when you had a brother who is sick with COVID and Chonghua is not opening a ward for him. And you will find a nurse and a doctor to make sure that they have a bed so that they can get treatment. Why? Because you can afford it. Hello? Some of you are saying, what's wrong with this guy? Is he mad? I'm not mad. I'm just expressive, guys. My nerves are popping out of my neck, and you're just like, I'm not sure. Resilience is your ability to bounce back. Everybody say bounce back. As fast as possible. I want to introduce you guys to Sarah Blakely. You probably don't know her. But this lady was selling fax machines, and she was knocking door to door in America. And her father told her, if you get rejected, it's okay. Because rejection makes you more resilient, and resilience is key to success. Well, that's what she learned, and here's what she did. Watch this. She founded a company called Spanx. And it's an amazing product, especially for you women. Actually, I'm interested in one of these, not for my wife, but for myself. But it's an amazing type of fabric that contours the body and makes you look hot. Anybody needs this product? And because of rejection, she had resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, she is the world's first ever US billionaire as a woman. Everybody say wow. If you like sports, maybe you're familiar with football. This is the Japanese Olympic team in football for women. And in 2009, there was a huge tsunami that destroyed their city. Greater than Odette. Please don't name your child Odette, by the way. And they were up against the American team, which was formidable and unstoppable, but guess what? Because of pain, they were able to win and snatch the gold from the Americans, and it was proof that when you are in severe pain, that's what brings out your resilience or your adversity quotient. It's not in comfort that you and I grow, it's in pain. Kanang kasab-an ka sa imong boss, and you filtered and you dug for the gold instead of the emotions behind it, I'm telling you, you are gonna grow. But if you're gonna be dramatic about it and tell all your friends about it and rant on social media about it, I tell you what, it's not gonna make you grow. What about this guy over here? Olympic gold medalist. The problem is this. Yes, he is an Olympic gold medalist, but he doesn't have a complete body. I want to introduce you guys to Daniel Diaz from Brazil, who eventually won 27 medals, 14 of which were golds, and had 10 world records, even if nagkakuwang ang iyang braso. Ask me why. Ask me why. The greater the pain, the greater the adversity, the greater the resilience. So kung ikaw, talawan ka when it comes to pain, it's hard for you to grow. Why? Because your comfort zone equals your income zone. And your comfort zone takes you away from your courage zone. How do we resolve this? Well, December was the worst time of our lives. Would you agree? I don't know where you were, but it sucks when you have neighbors who have electricity, water, and Wi-Fi, and you're 5 meters away, pero ikaw, wala. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Have you ever been in a situation where the line in 7-Eleven is so long? And everyone is so exposed to each other because they don't care about COVID anymore. By the way, we're not afraid of COVID anymore. Odette made us suffer more. True? But what did it do for you? Made you stronger, made you tougher, made you wiser. And it made you do this like never before. Asa man ang signal? Oy! That's what we were doing the whole time. It made us more resilient. It made us tougher. So when the storms and challenges in life show up, and they will show up unannounced, I want to remind you guys, take a picture. We've got to learn to build our adversity quotient. What's adversity quotient? Adversity quotient is when you seize control of what you can control, when you take ownership of your own responsibility. Stop blaming other people for what went wrong in your life. Guys, do not live in the past because today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. We got to learn to be responsive and not react. And also we got to learn to challenge ourselves to engage. Can I tell you guys a few tips when you go through challenges? For example, tough bosses. Do we have tough bosses? Hello? Why do they have to be tough? You know why? Because their head is on the line. The reason why they're tough on us is because they know that they have a bigger boss who is putting on pressure on them. And so they're passing the pressure to us. Yes? And because we're coming from 2 years of loss financially, every company wants to recover. And so they have to be aggressive. So what do we do when we have tough bosses? Don't post about them on social media. You might lose your job. A very famous chef at the waterfront had a clash with the executive chef And he posted it on social media. 4 hours later, he lost his job because he was too emotional. He did not have a sense of ownership. What do we do when we have toxic deadlines? Guys, learn to negotiate. Sir, I'd love to do that on Thursday, but if you want me to deliver quality, I'm going to need at least to do it by Friday because I want results for you. The problem with us Filipinos is that we're always, yes, no problem, yes. And by the time we go back to our desk, what do? We don't know what to do. Why? Because we don't know how to negotiate. What do you do when you have teammates who are uncooperative? Hey, build relationship with them. Know them. Don't just say, sus, murag angay yan. Don't do that. Build relationship. When you have teammates who are working because they were pirated or they decided not to show up at work because they like work from home, what do? Tell yourself, that's their responsibility. I have responsibilities too. Guys, don't cry over spilled milk. Di namin mag-lunch together. It's okay. Listen, you are not responsible for someone else's life. Focus on yours first. You got dreams. Family issues. Switch light. Guys, let us not bring our dirty laundry to the workplace. Just because you had an LQ with your partner last night does not mean that you have the right to be saputan or saputon rather in the workplace. Hey, separate your life from your professional life. True or true? Guys? Hello? Can I share with you guys a true story? Would that be okay? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, instead of making a gratitude list pa, sometimes we also have to write a my contributions list. That builds your worth, that builds your value, and it builds your resume. Why? So that in the future, when a company finds out about your contributions, you become their prime target. And by the way, why is this so important? My contributions list, so that you, my friend, become unfireable. There's a term called indispensable. There's no such thing. But you can be unfireable. Why is that, sir? Because if you're so good at a certain skill, and I have to let other people go, I'd rather keep one person who can do the job of 5 than keep all 5. Love this crowd. Such an energetic crowd. My mom was my best friend. She was a former Miss Philippines in 1969. I'm not kidding. She's 5'7". If she was a beauty queen, that makes me the son what? A beauty king, right? In 2018, I was invited by Smart Communications and Nestle to go to Butuan to do a talk. So I had 3 talks for the day. Week before that, my mom collapsed. On a fine Sunday afternoon, she was just doing karaoke with her cousins and then she collapsed. So she was sent from the residence to the hospital and she had no oxygen for 20 minutes. So by the time she got to the hospital, she was in comatose. So I went to see her in Manila, had a long conversation with her, and I discovered, guys, that even when a person is in comatose, the ear or the hearing is very sharp. I'm starting to confess to my mom all the stuff that I've done wrong because the doctor was saying she might not make it. She might have 2-3 weeks, we don't know. And I noticed something. My mom was teary-eyed even if she was in comatose. So I left the hospital, went back to Cebu, and then a week after took my flight to Butuan for the 3-part talk. I'm about to get up on stage and there's 1,000 people waiting when I get this phone call from my little sister, the phone call that I never expected to receive. And she said, "Kuya, we lost mom." What do you do when you're about to inspire and motivate people, but your hero, your best friend, is no longer around? What do? I broke. I went to the restroom and I just poured it out. I don't know what your relationship with your mom is or your dad is, but I do know that my mom was special to me, even if she was public enemy number one for an episode in my life. Hilabtanon manggod. I had 4 girlfriends and she is the third party. She's the cause of all the breakups. So I went backstage, I was weeping, and then my sponsor comes and they go like, we found out, would you like us to buy you a ticket and fly you back to Manila so you can join your family? I thought about it for a moment. And I said, no. Are you sure? I said, no. There's nothing I can do to resuscitate and revive my mom. I will stay here and I will finish what I started. I am committed. I will do a good job and then I will fly to Manila to make it on time for my mom. Besides, this is my tribute to my mom. So I did my speech. And friends, it was probably the best speech in my life. People didn't know that the person speaking in front had lost his mom. But I didn't make them feel that. I didn't want them to see the drama going on. I just gave them my blood, sweat, and freaking tears on stage. And when they found out, miss, they came up to me to console me and comfort me. And they said, sir, I could not imagine you're able to do such a thing. I don't know if you still have your parents around, but when I used to be a DJ a long time ago in Bethlehem, and I just want to be clear, it's not Bomboradio, because Bomboradio never admits that they're number 2. They always say, kami ang number 1. Nobody will ever say, kini ang number 2. Whenever I would close my telecast or my broadcast on radio, I always say this. Say I love you to the one you love now, for tomorrow might be too late. And that's what I got to do for my mom before it was too late. The point is this, my dear friends. Sometimes when adversity strikes you, whether it's illness, bankruptcy, a breakup, a fallout, a closure, it's your commitment that pushes the boundaries in any painful situation, because it is in pain that your true character, your commitment is being put to the test. When everybody is leaving the company and you decided to stay and the company begins to stabilize and normalize, you will not be forgotten because you were committed. That's what true resilience is all about. You know how to cut through the drama. You don't have to tell the whole world about your issues. You just continue to fight on because you have AQ, adversity quotient. So love your moms, even if they are hilabtanon. But be committed to your work, because that's what true character is all about. Raise your right hand, please, everybody. Pag-organic ko na yung commitment, they're walking out already. Wow, all right. Just kidding. Raise your right hand, everybody. Tap the person on your right. Tell the person beside you, kaya nga magbago ka na. Number 3, invest in relationships. 3 reasons why people leave companies. Would you like to know? Reason number 1, toxic boss. Don't look at the person beside you. Reason number 2, toxic working relationships. Would you agree? I don't care if the work is stressful as long as I work with people I enjoy working with. Reason number 3, why people leave. Bad workspace. That's why there's something called KMC community. No, that's not the reason. Reason number 3, almost to none, almost to 0 career progression. You're stuck. And here's what you do. It's so interesting, guys, no? HR is no longer the best recruiter in any company. Sorry. You know who the best recruiters are? The people in the company. Why? Because when they get together with their friends in Chubi Chubi or in Cebu Mercado, what do they talk about? Work, their boss, the politics, the favoritism, and the pay. They make comparisons. Would you agree, guys? Hello? Yes? So what must we do to make sure that we achieve our goals? Can I just say to you guys, you can never achieve your goals alone. You need to invest in relationships. You cannot be heroic or a one-man woman show. You've got to be a team player too. I want to suggest to you guys 3 behaviors. Be humble, be hungry, and be people smart. What's the first one? Everybody say humble. You know what humble is? Someone who's willing to be corrected, somebody who's teachable, somebody who's coachable, somebody who's willing to say, it was my fault, please forgive me, and sorry is not enough. Sorry, I won't do it again, promise, kahit magpustahan pa tayo. You have to rectify it. That's called humility. What's hungry? Somebody who's driven and determined. Somebody who's not just under the radar, but somebody who's contributing, even if sometimes their ideas are being rejected. Smarts, people smart. Marunong makibagay. This is the kind of person who does not finish all the biscuits in the pantry. This is the kind of person who shows up ahead of time for meetings and they fix the desk for everybody and they make sure that there's an agenda ready for them. That's called people smart. There are some people who are too humble. You know what they are? They're called the mess maker. Palaging mali. It's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault. So they're the victim. There are some people who are too hungry. So what happens? They're the bulldozer. It's so interesting, guys, in the US Navy, they would never trust the highest performer. Ask me why. Ask me why. Because they discovered that the highest performer is sometimes the most toxic person in the organization. Why? Because they're gonna step on other people just to get what they freaking want. Sorry guys, pardon me for the French. I just have so much passion about this. Because sometimes it's the high performers that management retains and pays 3 times, but they're the ones who make people leave. I don't get that. Parang mahinang Wi-Fi today. I'm not getting any reaction from anyone here. Some of you are like, I'm not sure if you're listening to music or you're in agreement. Why do we pay people who do so well, but that person makes everybody leave? That tells you that it's not a psychologically safe environment. Would you agree? Yes? Thank you. And then you have people also who are too PR. They're so PR. Hey, what's up, ya? You know? Super duper charming. So what happens to them? They are political because they know how to maneuver things. So we need to understand personalities also. I want you to take a picture, guys, and I promise you I'm the tallest photo bomber you've ever seen. And if you're gonna have a caption, please stipulate Chinese speaker, not Korean. Maybe you're in any of these categories. Some people, they're red. They're so dominant. They're the leader type. They like to get things done. Why? Because they want action, results, and challenge. Mulinya ganini sila sa Jollibee. They go to the cashier with the least line. And they know exactly what they want to order. And they know exactly how much they're going to pay. When you ask them, when do you need the report? They're going to say, yesterday. You know people like that? Yes? These are the kinds of people who are very results-oriented. You ask them to climb the mountain, they will say, charge. They have a theme song. The theme song is, I've got the eye of the tiger. That's them. Okay? You know people like that? The second group of people, they're the opposite. They're the blue people. They're the ones who love other people. They can't work and live without music or food or activities. The red, metrics, deliverables. The blue, people. People. We can't live without people. These are the kinds of people that when you ask them to work for a company, The red ones will say, what's the expectation? What's the outcome? The blue is, do you have a pantry with free-flowing coffee? Is the working environment chill? Now let's talk about the green people. Who are the green people? They are the OC, Vegetarian Ampalaya Society. They are the ok-oks. They love precision and accuracy. They're into the details. Step 1, 2, 3. You cannot bypass. It's a process, which means sometimes they're very slow. You open their pitaka or their wallet, 1,000, 500, 100, 200. It's all arranged. You know people like that? Their trip is on January 2023 and they have a freaking itinerary already. You know people like that? You know people, sayip imong liquidation, nakay error, balik. These are the kinds of people who are in the reds when there's a fire, evacuate. The blues are like, wait, guys, hold on. The greens are like, we have exit 1, exit 2, exit 3, exit 4. Nasunugan na mo, he still knows it's the best way. Green, I don't have a song for them because they are into analysis paralysis. Finally, the yellows, the nicest people in the world. They are the kinds of people who love to collaborate, support, and they love stability. That's why they're good administrators. They love harmony. The problem with them is they love to procrastinate because they're indecisive. And they do not like to hurt people. You know people like that? When this guy lines up in Jollibee, he knows where to go. When this guy lines up in Jollibee, by the time they get to the cashier, here's what they're gonna ask the cashier. What's in yung bag-o? Na may promo? The green person will show up in front of the cashier and say, akong gi-compute ba? Makasave ta kung tulo ka bucket of Chicken Joy. Ang atong savings kay $49.75. But the yellow person is super agreeable. You ask them, what do you want? Bisan unsa lang. Say type ni mo na, asa lang, okay ra. Di, ako'y bahala, okay ra. That's the reason why, kung naa kay plano mangutang, pangutang mo sa yellow. Because they cannot say no. And if you have no plans to pay the yellow will understand. So when there's a fire going on, the yellow person will say, guys, we have to save everyone. So their life song is, we are the world. That's them. Here's the problem. The reds and the greens are very task-oriented. The blues and the yellows are very people-oriented. So the complaint of the Christmas people, Jose Marichan, is, kamo, tapian kay mo. Sige na mag-PR, PR, PR. Guys, work. The blues and the yellows will complain about the reds and the greens. They will say, kamo, daghan kay mo kontra. Kay wa mo'y friends. You get the point? Hello, are you listening, guys? These people, they work fast. These people, they work slow. And that's what causes the conflict. So what must we do? I want you guys to be right here in the middle. I want you guys to be an enigma. What's an enigma? Somebody who knows how to adjust. If I'm dealing with a red client, I'm gonna be red. You want something fast? I got it fast. If you're dealing with a superior who's a green, make sure that you are very, very process-oriented, detailed-oriented, prepared. If you're working with somebody who's a blue, compliment them. I like your blouse. Where did you get your hair done? Really? What salon? Great. Here's my endorsement for you. What do you do with a yellow? You talk to them nicely. Cool tone. Do not terrorize them. Don't say, asang report. Maria, I need your support. Where's the report? I forgot. I'm so sorry. It's okay. I understand, but I need it at 4 o'clock Philippine time, okay? That's them. So we need to be the black today. No matter how high ranking of a leader you are, we are called to be versatile and flexible. We cannot be who we are. And by the way, I just want to be clear, guys, not one color is most powerful or strongest, because every single color has its advantages and strengths. Can you just imagine if your office was full of red people, what's going to happen? Come on, tanan red. What's gonna happen? Everybody's red. What's gonna happen if everybody is blue? Tik-tak sada, tik-tak, tik-tak, tik-tak. Right? What's gonna happen if everybody's green? It's a library. Nobody wants to talk. If they ask you what's the best proposal, all proposals are good. Why? Because we made it. Greens are perfectionists. What's gonna happen if it's all yellows? Nothing. Nothing is gonna happen. What food would you like? What about you? What kind of outing would you like? It's so democratic. We need to be right here in the center. We need to be an enigma. Are you following? Do me a favor. Raise your right hand, please, everyone. Tap the person beside you, shake them up and say, "Hindi ka tao, hayop ka talaga." You do that? So what is the principle? The principle is this. Take a picture. Hey guys, we gotta learn to be people-centric. It's not about you. Be interested, not interesting. There's a difference between collegial, collaborative, and cohesion. Collegial is like civil. You come together, you have no choice. You sit beside someone, no choice. Collaborative is different. Collaborative is, this is my strength, that's your strength, let's join forces. But you know what? It's going to require humility. How many of you remember college wherein you're asked to do a class project and whoever's the first person to say a word instantly becomes the leader? And they do all the work. That is called collegial. When we say collaborative, you are willing to be humble to share best practices with others. And you say, there are others who are better than me, even if you know that you are better than them. And lastly, the third layer is cohesion. Cohesion is when you guys know how to stick together. And what is the requirement? It's not just humility, it's called vulnerability. It's the idea that I don't have all the answers. I'm not the best. Even as a leader, sometimes I will tell my young people, guys, I don't have all the answers. I need your help. There's nothing wrong if we were to be vulnerable. You're not the superwoman or the superman. Are we learning, guys? And lastly, you've got to build your personal brand. Why? If you are 36 years old and below, and there's a temptation to join what we call the gig economy. The gig economy, wherein you jump into freelancing, and there's no problem with freelancing or side hustling, as long as you're loyal and committed to your company and you're not serving the competitor, that's fine. But listen, young people today have a tendency to be a corporate grasshopper. They jump from one job to the next in search of the perfect company, the perfect boss, with the perfect culture, with the perfect office, and the perfect compensation. When the truth is, there's none. There's none. Are you with me? Because all human beings are flawed and imperfect. There's no such thing as perfection. There is something as ideal, but not everything is perfect. And if you jump from one company to the next recruiter will look at your resume and they're gonna say, 6 months here, 3 months here, 2 months there, 5 months here. It only proves one thing. It is indicative that that person has no staying power. Therefore, they cannot be trusted. Please elbow the person beside you, the one pretending to listen. Tell the person beside you, he's talking about you. Could you do that? Are we learning, guys? Second to the last, as we close, make your money grow. Make your money grow. Why? Ask me why. Because, my dear friends, it's not about how much you earned or how much you spend. It's about how much you save and how much you invest. When you work for companies that are founded here in KMC with offices, can I tell you something? You are going to make more money than the typical teller. Agree? But here's the problem. Sometimes we are overnight millionaires. I have a client that builds condominiums and they have a lot of agents. And whenever they sell a condo unit, they get a commission of 5 to 7%. So they make 160,000 for one condo. Not bad. So you know what they do? They instantly buy a car, thinking that they can afford it. So what happened? During the recession, during Odette, they could not pay. So what happened? Na-embargo ang sakyanan. So they had to start from scratch again. This is what we call an overnight millionaire. Why? Because many times we think that money has to be spent because we're entitled. We don't want it to run out, so we want to reward ourselves. But the true reward, guys, is not in spending. The true reward is in the long term. Let me share with you guys a few principles. Look at this. Please take a picture, guys. When you are unstable financially, you end up doing desperate things, and it will reflect in your work. You will have loans, you will do another credit card application, and then later on you're gonna pay the balance transfer, etc., etc. It is a very toxic life. We gotta be careful and wise with our spending. And can I be honest, guys, sometimes you've got to learn to say no and stop buying things that you don't really need to impress people you don't like. Niga, na-shy ka ng easy. Dapat nasa ko easy. Just because you have an iPhone 12 doesn't mean it's necessary for you to upgrade to the 14. Sometimes you gotta say no. Hey, can I be honest? You might have a sibling who's saying, te, pausla ta tebe. Sometimes you gotta say no. It's good for them. You are not someone else's breadwinner. You gotta save and protect yourself. When you fly, and if there's an emergency, the mask will come down, right? You gotta serve yourself first before you serve somebody else. Otherwise, you will suffocate. A broke person is a demotivated person. So if you have a sibling or a cousin who always likes to borrow from you, sometimes you gotta say no. My sister before would always borrow from me every time she was short. And it came to a point that I said to her, Miss, sweetheart, I'm sorry, I cannot. This is the last time I'm ever gonna do this for you. You have a husband. I didn't even insult the husband. I didn't even say that, patrabahuan na siya. No, I did not do that. I said, you've got to be responsible. I'm gonna draw the line from here. Just know that this is my way of saying I love you and I want you to stand on your own 2 feet. So you know what happened? I never got a call or a text from her ever again when it comes to borrowing money. When Odette came, she found out and she called me every single day, miss. And she knew that Cebu had a power shortage. So you know what she did? She said, AIDS, that's my nickname. I know that there's a problem in Cebu. Can I help? I said, no, I got everything covered. Kuya, strong. But there is no generator in Cebu anymore available. I want you to know I'm sending you a generator. Padi pa ko. Ay lang, it's okay. Ay, mahasol pa ka. It's already in transit. She sent me a generator, which is so expensive, by the way. And I said, Candice, why did you do this? You know what she told me? Because you would have done the same for me. Because all my life you've been there for me, and you taught me a lesson that sometimes I gotta stand on my own 2 feet. This is my way of giving back to you. Sometimes you've gotta learn to say no. Sometimes you gotta learn to tell people, man up, be responsible. I am not your human ATM. And sometimes you gotta tell your parents, me, wa patay budget, ayaw sa pagunahunog, Palawan. Stop thinking of Hong Kong or Dubai. We're not there yet. Stop pretending to be rich when the truth is we're not. Hello? We're going through inflation and rough times. This is the best time that you and I need to start saving up. Are you following, guys? Hello? What is this? Use the money jar system. Well, I've been doing this for years and it has helped me a great deal. Please, I beg you, take a picture. I'm going to step aside. Open multiple accounts. This is something I learned from my mentor who is a successful multimillionaire. And this is what other millionaires are practicing. He says, from your 100%, open different accounts and allocate certain percentages to different funds and different needs. What are they? 10% is called your forced saving. When you get your 60,000 paycheck, immediately take 10% and save it in an account that you cannot touch. Trust me. Trust me. You're gonna need it for a rainy day. One day when I'm 65 years old, we will bump into each other in Robinson's Galleria and you'll say, "Sir, thank you." What's the 50%? This is called your expense. What is the 10%? This is called your investment or future funds. Which means when you have enough on that future fund, you can start a small business on the side. Selling retail or a printing company or whatever. My assistant is 26 years old and he did this system and he owns a coffee shop today. My assistant, he's 26. Hello? Play. What's play? Laag. Party. Trips. We young people, guys, we're all about lifestyle. Honestly. Comparison, my friends, is poison because it paralyzes you from your true potential. Please do not allow someone else's highlight reel on Instagram to swindle you to think that you can also afford what Heart Evangelista can afford. Regards to Cheese. Are you with me, guys? Hello? It's so funny. The richest people in the world that I know are not even so much into brands. They're so much into stability and security. But the people who want to get there are the ones who are flashy. You know, they have a Salvatore Ferragamo bag or a Louis Vuittones bag. And they have an H that looks like a Z. You don't need that stuff, guys. You don't need that stuff. Are you with me? Play and then education. Why? Guys, I promise you, if you want to level up in your career, you're going to have to take a portion to invest in yourself, to upskill. Because when you upskill, you double your value, miss. You will double your value. When you become multi-skilled, your employer will say, "Gosh, this woman is a top pick. I cannot let her go because you're upskilled." But what do? We say, nabita YouTube University, libre ra bitaw. No, it's different if it's generic and it's different if it's specific. And lastly, give. To who? People in need, your family. For me, it's my faith, it's my church. I give back 10%, even more sometimes. And here's what I realize. You can never outgive God. There was a time in my life, miss, that I was so broke, and I gave my last 5,000 to Him. He made it 50,000. And I'm not saying that, okay, so karong Sunday, mohatag na yung kog dako nga amount. No, it's not like that. It's faith. It's not transactional. Yeah? Now, I want to bring your attention to this slide. Please, you got to take a picture of this. Nobody will share this to you. Some of you are saying, "Coach, excuse me, I'm a saver. I love to save." Yes, if you are saving everything in the bank, you're going to get 36,000 with a 3,000 peso saving, and your interest in 1 year is nothing. But if you guys will invest in a VUL, what is that? It's a banking product that comes with insurance and protection. For 3,000 at 12 months, this is what you're gonna get. Now I want you to take a picture of the next slide. Watch. Raise your hand if you're 25. Tell me the truth. Raise your hand if you're 25. Wala mo kumpisal. Watch. Guys, nobody will teach you this. All right? If you save 3,000 on a monthly investment what happens? All right? Look at this. You're going to make 3.3 million after 15 years. Who's going to give that to you? Dell is not going to give that to you. HP is not going to give that to you. You is going to give back to you. Hello? Now let's compute. Bring out your phones and bring out your calculators. Come on, this is a no-brainer. Come on everybody, help me out. I want you to go to your calculator, please. Asa man akong calculator? I'm looking for my calculator. I want you to divide 3,000 to 30. How much do you get? How much? 3,000 to 30. How much? 100. Let me ask you. Can you save 100 a day? Instead of being pressured to go to Starbucks Prime because all your friends have it, because you saw on Instagram, right? Now in Prime, can you save 100 pesos a day? I'm sure you can, yes? Hello? Do you really need 17 sneakers? No, you don't. No, you don't. So look what happens, guys. Watch, huh? If you start at 25, you get 3.3. If you start at 35, you get 2.1. If you start at 45, it's 1.1. So what's the lesson, guys? We start when? We start when? Now, when we're young. Please elbow the person beside you. Check, scan the person beside you. Kanang imong tapad, saver ba na siya or gastador na siya? What do you think? And lastly, I want to encourage you guys to excel through your work ethics. Everybody say excel. How do we do that? True or false? The hardest person to lead is ourselves. Yes or yes? We're difficult to lead because we have a lot of insecurities. And so, how do we do that? Well, basically, I want to introduce you guys to a best-selling book and author. His name is James Clear. And he makes one thing clear. He says, we do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. The reason why Olympians become champions and gold medalists is because they have systems to reinforce their goals. They don't just want to say, hey, I want to break the world record. No, they have a routine. They have systems in place. My son recently joined a Rubik's Cube competition. It's so interesting. It takes him 23 seconds to solve a Rubik's Cube. It takes me 1 month to solve it. But why? Because of something called incremental practice. Every single day, he is working on something. So what must we work on? Take a picture, friends. This is going to be valuable for you. I want you to set up what we call intentional me time. Me time is not when you get to sit for 1 hour, chew your food, and watch Descendants of the Sun. But me time is an opportunity for you to think about what's important for you. Love yourself. Because well-being leads to well-doing. If you're always stressed, what your life is full of is what your life will reflect and radiate. And no amount of MAC makeup can hide the issues that you have in your lives. Are you following? Another thing is we need to make sure that we have a TDL. What's a TDL? A to-do list, and we need to have a calendar. Because if there is a budget that tells people or tells you where your money goes, it's your calendar that tells you where your activities go. And by the way, as people working, we need to make sure we focus on high-yield activities. Not on activities, guys, that are time wasters. Time wasters, you can entertain them when you're going down the elevator. Right? When you have your own coffee break. Learn to sweat. Oh, by the way, sorry. You gotta also learn to journal. What's journaling? Journaling is reflecting on life's most important lessons. Why? What you write becomes established in your life. Attending training, team meetings, and of course, making sure that you educate yourself. These are all very important stuff. Now, this is the law of increments. Watch. When you and I choose to improve by at least 1%, how many percent? 1% every single day, you will notice there will be a sizable difference at the end of the year. Are you familiar, guys, with my friend Novak Djokovic, the famous tennis player? I did not teach him how to play tennis, and he does not know me. But anyway, he had a coach, and his coach told him, I want you to work on the pronation of your wrist. The little bit of a twist on your wrist will improve your serve. That's what he did. Just one tiny improvement improved his results. Then he became the world champion. What 1% can you work on in your routine that can make you bigger, better, stronger, and wiser? What's that 1%? What's that 1%? Ask the person beside you, what's that 1%? Because if you're not improving, you're going to be on decline. The sound team, for example, what's the 1% that we can work on? Right? What's the 1%? And lastly, make sure that when you choose to excel, you are not competing with anybody else. You're competing with yourself. Can I ask a volunteer, please, to come? Can we give a name of a person, please? Who? Can we have a lady, please? Jeb? Yeah, come over here. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Is Jeb? Jeff, thank you, Jeff. All right, now, Jeff, should I stand closer or should I? Guys, we're about to end. Stay na lang. Jeff, all right. So there's this lady who has been complaining to her minister about the church. True story. And she said, I hate the church because the church is full of hypocrites. True? Right? You're preaching, someone is playing Minecraft. You're preaching, someone is smoking. You're preaching, someone is speaking behind someone else's back. I hate this church. I want to leave. Here's what the pastor said. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. But before you leave, could you do me a favor? And she said, sure, what? He said, could you please take this glass of water and I need you to take 3 rounds around the entire congregation and make sure that not a single drop of the water would spill. You know what the lady said? Sure. Too easy. So Jeff, would you be so kind to walk around here and then come back here, right, without making sure that there's a single spill that falls. And look at the way he walks. Look at that, all right? Wow, that's so amazing, isn't it? All right, give him a hand, by the way, as he's doing it. You know what Jeff is saying? Making sure. The back, Jeff, yes. He thought it was gonna be easy, yeah? So that lady just walks around the congregation 3 times while the pastor was preaching the word. And let's be honest, not everybody was paying attention. Some people were candy crushing on the side. And eventually, when the service ended, he calls back for that lady and decides to interview that person. And here's the answer. All right, Jeff, thank you so much. Guys, please, let's appreciate him with a big hand. Did anything spill?
A lot.
A lot spilled. Why?
Because I was walking around. It was hard.
It was hard. Now, here's what the lady said. Pastor, I noticed nothing spilled. And the pastor goes like, why? Here's what she said. Are you kidding? I was too focused looking at the glass to make sure that nothing spilled. That's why nothing spilled. Here's what the pastor said. Precisely. Because you were too focused on your own life. You stayed on your own lane. You did not think about the comparisons around you. That is why you stayed focused. Are you following, guys? We work in KMC or in our companies not to compete against others, but to compete against ourselves. We need to stay on our lane. Let's stop comparing ourselves to other people. Your paycheck does not define you as a person. It is a measurement of your performance, but it is not an indication of your worth. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Jeff, maraming salamat. Thank you. So as we close and as I say goodbye, because I think Rachel is winking at me, she's like, coach, you know. I just want to remind you guys, pursue, establish your goal. Resilience is found in your blood. Invest in relationships, make your money grow, and do not ever forget to excel in your work ethics. And when you have all that, then you can be ready to prime yourself for success. Yes? I'm gonna make sure that you guys have your own optional assignment. This is really up to you if you're gonna do this. I wanna make sure that you guys apply the learning within 30 days. Nobody will be accountable to you except you, because the hardest person to lead is ourselves. So, what is this? This is your 30-day goal sheet challenge. I want you to establish a goal, something that is challenging, but something that requires pain and discomfort. Nothing happens in pleasure. It's only in discomfort. I want you to establish or identify what are the top 3 strategies and how to be able to do that, and specific tactics or behaviors to reinforce that strategy. And then I also want you guys to anticipate what are the possible challenges that might show up and what are your solutions. And then I want you to give yourself a material reward, but also an immaterial or invaluable reward, wherein you say to yourself, I feel fulfilled. I was able to challenge myself. I was able to rise to another level. It's up to you. Can't force you. But remember, people without goals, people who do not know what they want, are people who just float around in life just like a paper boat being tossed to and fro in the wind. Be a goal-oriented person. As I close, I want to end with a quick story. Would that be okay? I've been so talkative. When I was 28 years old, I made my first million. Not to brag, not to boast, because when I was 24, our family business collapsed. So my dad had to work again, and my $8,000 salary at that time working for a retail company was not enough. So I had to get into some business. So I joined my best friend, and by the grace of God, in a short span of time, I made my first million. Just as I was turning 28 years old, my mentor invites me to his hotel room. This is November 24, midnight. Kind of strange to be invited to someone's room at 12 midnight. Seriously, hotel room. He just arrives from abroad. He unpacks his suitcase, and this is what I find in his suitcase. Watch. A beautiful Formula One Ferrari shirt jack, which 10 years ago meant so much. If you wear something like this, you're sikat. I'm thankful I'm not wearing this today. Otherwise, somebody will approach me and say, Sir, patubil ka, sir? So I saw the shirt, and I go like, wow. And he goes like, try it on. So I tried on, and it fits perfectly. He says, do you like it? I said, I love it. He says, if you like it, it's yours. That's my gift to you. And I said, why? And he said, Adrian, only champions get to wear that shirt, and in my eyes, you're a champion. Lesson in life. Sometimes there are people who believe in you more than you believe in yourself. That's why you were handpicked, that's why you were chosen to be a part of your team. Yes or yes? But a few years after that, I bumped into my number one idol in my industry. He is the number one motivational speaker in the country. He gets paid 150,000 pesos per hour to speak. I got invited by him, sir, because they were looking for other speakers to join their talent pool. So I'm so excited. Hambog pagamay, I'll be the only Cebuano, etc., etc. So I have lunch with him at the Quest Hotel. I sit beside this man face to face, and you know what? No exchange of pleasantries. He just tells me, what do you do? How many seminars do you do? I give a certain number. What are your competencies? What's your expertise? What are you good at? I share what I'm good at. At the end of 45 minutes, he barely touches his plate. And then it says, Adrian, in my estimation, you're not ready for this. Number one, the number of seminars you do in a month, I do in 3 days. The certifications that you have, not the certifications we need. We have a bunch of black belters in our team, so we don't need another guy like you. Number three, you're still very, very immature. You're not ready to talk to CEOs and executives. So I'm sorry, this is not the time for you. He stands up, quietly walks away, and he barely touches his meal, and I ate half my plate, and my Cebuano mind is saying, Kinsay mo bayad, ani? So I go home, not sure if I should be discouraged or dejected, and the first person that I confide and report this to is no less than my commanding officer, my wife. So here's what my wife says. Really? He said that to you? I will never buy his books anymore. I will not subscribe. I will unfollow him. That's what my wife said, and I felt that she was on my side. But the following day, it was a completely different picture. When we were having breakfast, my wife was saying, but what if he's right? What if you're really slow? What if you don't have enough certifications? What if you're too comfortable? I think he's right, hon. I think you're wrong. At the back of my mind, I just wanted to press the eject button. And I just wanted to say, why did I marry you again? I thought you were on my side. You're supposed to be my CEO, my chief encouraging officer. And she said, I am. And that's the reason why sometimes, sweetheart, I have to be tough on you, because sometimes I have to tell you the things that you need to hear instead of the things that you want to hear. Ouch. So I took my wife's advice. And that situation, guys, made me work my butt off. And so what happened? We actually tripled our business and our sales because of the sharp words and the tough love of my idol. So in 2017, I go to the Makati Shangri-La to attend his talk, his 2-day leadership program. It's a signature course. And I sat there as part of the audience, right in front, taking down notes. I wasn't eating Chowking. I wasn't doing anything else. I was just listening to him, hungry, humble, and people smart. And we had a moment, and he spoke to me heart to heart. And he said, Adrian, after all these years, I want you to know that I have been following you. I've been looking at your posts. I've been seeing your accomplishments. And I want you to know that I am proud of you. That even if we won't be able to work together, I know that one day we will. And I'm here to tell you, Adrian, that you are going to be the John Maxwell of Cebu. This, my friend, is no less than Francis Kong. A best-selling author, a phenomenal speaker, my idol. But sometimes he had to use painful and sharp words because it made me realize I was too comfortable. Friends, are you too comfortable? Are you in your comfort zone? Are you coasting along under the radar? Do you have this mindset, Kira, pwede na, this is fine? Or are you the kind of person who's willing to invite challenge? You're willing to invite responsibilities in your life because you realize that a person's commitment is not tested in comfort, but it is tested in the waters of pain. Are you with me, guys? You know what? I forgot to mention to all of you that this speaker, your speaker today, believe it or not, I used to work for Jollibee. That was my first ever job, guys. I used to flip burgers and make chicken joy and French fries. I know the secret recipe, but I will never share it to you. And one of my responsibilities, guys, was I had to clean freaking toilets. And as we all know, toilets have skid marks and UFOs, unidentified floating objects. And they asked me to be a party host. I hosted kiddie parties, but I just want to make it clear, I am not the mascot. I don't fit in the costume. And I'll never forget, I hosted Matteo Guidicelli's birthday when he was 4 years old, when he was still a Smurf. But in 2017, after I met Francisco, my first employer invited me again to speak. I thought I was going to speak to their service crew or food attendants and train them. But the organizer, the VP, said, no, you're going to actually train our leaders. And my dear friends, 80% of the people that you find or see in this picture started out as food attendants too. And now they're all managers in the Visayas and Mindanao region running franchises and stores. Friends, who would have thought that this Chinese guy standing at 6'3" in front of all of you would one day achieve the goal of becoming a motivational speaker and a corporate trainer? Never in my wildest dreams. But I had to make sure that I pursued and protected my goal. I had to make sure that I had resilience inside of me. I had to invest in relationships. I had to save and invest. And I had to make sure that I had the work ethics to back it up. Because my dear friends, it doesn't matter where you start. It matters more where you're headed. You might be in the very bottom of your job here, maybe just a receptionist, but please don't ever say, I'm just a receptionist. No. It's hard to be a receptionist, but you cannot stay as a receptionist all your life. You got to envision yourself that one day you can be a country manager. You got to believe that one day you can build the house of your dreams and marry the man that you've always prayed for, and raise kids who are God-fearing, God-honoring, and God-loving. You cannot be satisfied where you are. You got to continue to grow and level up. Are you with me? And so, friends, if there's one thing that disturbs you today, I really hope that it stays in your mind, because if it disturbs you, that means it made a dent in your life. Last night, I couldn't sleep, by the way, because I was busy thinking about you guys. I was thinking about Rachel and Eric, what they're going to say. I couldn't sleep very well. But now I know why. Because people who have sleepless nights are people who are born into ideas, and they want to turn idea into reality through their passion and hard work. And so, friends here in the KMC community, if for some reason there's one idea that disturbs you and you can't sleep well tonight, that is a good sign that you learned something from me today. So I wish you all a sleepless night ahead. God bless you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Coach Adrian. I hope we still have time for some Q&A. Okay. So maybe someone from the audience is willing to share his or her experience, or do you have any question for Coach Adrian? Now is the time. Don't worry, because we'll be giving away KMC merch again. Thank you to Jeff for participating a while ago. So any questions from the audience, or anyone who would like to share his or her insights, experiences? Oh, they fell silent, Coach. Or maybe someone can share maybe what he or she has learned today. So very short and sweet na lang. So anyone who would like to share? Nag-eye contact na si Coach Adrian. A voluntold. Yes, Miss Lana, thank you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for the very inspirational, motivational, and engaging talk. He was invited like a few months ago as our coach as well when we had that manager's trip in Bohol. And everything he said was, it was really, what do you call this, engaging and motivational. Well, particularly for me. So my main takeaway on, your talk today is purpose. Just like, like yesterday or a few days ago, I was also telling my team, give me your 5 Ps and arrange them according to your priority, what's important to you. Right. So I said, is it perks? Is it pay? Is it people? Is it pride? Is it purpose? And, well, not all of them have submitted their answers, but I said, and why? Yeah. So, yes, purpose. I just don't know about the pain plus, pleasure equals purpose, but that is really very important, especially when you are looking for a job or when you want to work, for a particular company. The first thing you need to keep in mind is what is your purpose there. Yeah. And then all the rest will follow.
Thank you. I just want to add something to that. When we look for work, I think we're always looking for the branding, diba? Let's be honest, if it's stable and everything. We also look for culture. Do we know the culture? Do we like the culture? And we ask friends if they know about that company, what do they know about that thing? Purpose is definitely very, very important, I agree. If people are only looking for perks and pleasure, I want you guys to know that it's only going to desensitize you from performance. Why is that? Because people are not necessarily born into this world for pleasure. There are two important days in your life: the day that you were born and the day you found out why you were born. And the reason why the world today exists is because we have problems that are meant to be solved. You were born into this world to solve a problem. How? Through the skill that was given to you, the ability, the talent, the expertise that you have. And so our life purpose really is to be of value in the service of others. I actually love what Gandhi said many years ago. He said, when people are lost, you have to remind them about this statement. He says, we find ourselves when we lose ourselves in the service of others. I'll say that again. We find ourselves when we lose ourselves in the service of others. The happiest person to be alive is not the COVID patient who cheated death, but it's the nurse who stood by her when she was about to die. Because in that moment, she realized, what I have is not a job. What I have is a calling. It's a career. I love seeing people, lives being saved, right? Most people, what they do is they find means first before meaning. But if you get the meaning right, the means will follow. Are you following? Meaning first and the means will follow. So thank you, Miss Lana. Give her a hand, everybody. Anybody else?
Eye contact. So maybe while she's thinking of her key takeaway, let's have a group picture, Coach, first here. So can we invite everyone here to please join us for a class picture? Don't be shy. To commemorate our program today. Here, Coach, let's stay here. Sure. Compress, guys. Yes.